Yes, though, on the day the public inquiry into the post office scandal resumed, a reminder of a bigger and even longer-running miscarriage of justice.
Yes, tonight we're hearing from the son of a man who became one of almost 5,000 people who received blood infected with HIV and hepatitis during the 1970s and 80s.
After becoming infected in his 40s, Peter from Altrincham dedicated the rest of his life to fighting for justice. Partly down to his campaign, the government set up a public inquiry which began in 2017 and continues to this day.
Well, Peter died just before Christmas 2021. His son Gareth says he's happy that justice now seems in sight for the victims of the post office scandal.
But he's angry so many people who received infected blood have died and will never see anyone held to account for their suffering.
Our correspondent, Mel Barham, has more.
They're not calling me a thief. They wouldn't dare.
It's taken an ITV drama to thrust the post office scandal into the limelight. But for the victims of what's widely recognised as the worst treatment disaster in the history of the NHS, they feel their plight is still in the shadows.
They can't just keep putting the infected blood scandal to the back of the queue. This has been going on for a long time, about 40 years now, and it's time that it's dealt with.
Gareth's father, Peter, was one of thousands given blood products in the 1970s and 80s contaminated with hepatitis C and HIV.
He used to wash himself in bleach, wash his hands in bleach, wash all of his cutlery and his pots and stuff in bleach, so he didn't infect us. It really, really affected him from that mental perspective. And then as the years went on, physically, he became really tired. He was in a lot of pain all the time, and yeah, it completely changed his life.
So this was an interview that your dad did with Granada back in 2007 with us.
I've lost my job, I've lost everything. But, I definitely would put justice right at the top as well. Justification for what's happened to the thousands of people that's lost their lives. Good people that are no longer here because of these infected blood products.
It is justice he never saw. He died 2 years ago, still waiting. His son said watching the drama about the post office scandal was very emotional.
I could draw parallels between Alan Bates and my dad, where they could see the injustice and they thought, we need to do something about this. My dad was exactly the same. He wanted to get the ball rolling. He wanted to set up campaign groups, just like Alan Bates. He wouldn't take no for an answer off people, even when he was getting pushed back. He never, ever gave up. So it was really emotional. I did break down at that time because I could really see that parallel between him and my dad.
It will not take an ITV drama for us to get this resolved.
Today in the Commons, the government faced renewed calls to speed up justice for other victims, including the infected blood scandal, with the Leader of the House acknowledging the scale of the issue.
We were all shocked, I think, by the layer on layer of injustice that was levelled against those that suffered in the Post Office Horizon scandal. Terrible and shocking though that was, the infected blood inquiry is on another level.
But for the victims waiting for justice, it's still not fast enough.
It's a disgrace, really, that it takes so much to get justice in this country. For us even to get the inquiry, it required enormous political, legal and media pressure all combining in 1 week to finally break through and get the inquiry. And we're having exactly the same situation now with trying to get compensation paid to victims and bereaved families.
There has been a public inquiry into this scandal, with recommendations made last April for interim payments to victims. But victims' children and parents are still waiting for their compensation. Next week, the inquiry is due to release details of when the final report will be published, but still no word on when the government will pay out.
100% he would have been angry, 100% he would have been active, phoning different campaigners, this isn't fair. He would have been like me, we can't take away the injustice that the sub-postmasters suffered, and I don't want to do that, and I don't want it to come across today that that's what we're talking about. But he would have been angry. Again, he always said, well, they want us to die, they're waiting, they're delaying it on purpose. He always used to say that.
For the victims of this scandal, time is not on their side. And like the sub-postmasters, they want justice, and soon. Mel Barham, ITV News, Altrincham.